organization, just to go very fast on them, they have recognized the human capital, just like any other ingredients of capital to create a business. The human capital is critical in creating innovation in the business. So when we are looking at the innovation, how we can spur that, how we can make our workplace become sort of like an engine of spark where we see innovation happening. Let's look at how we can motivate people, to give their best in whatever they are doing. The first is creating a culture of trust and psychological safety. And when you look at the culture of trust, because trust is very delicate, each time you are interacting with someone, you are either building trust or you are breaking trust. And depending on your interaction and collaboration, you either build very strong bond and trust in your team. But there is one ingredient which the Googles of this world have mastered, the psychological safety, where people know that they can be who they are, they can take risk, they can ask questions, sometimes questions that are uncomfortable, for them to be able to get clarity. Where leaders also have an approach that the knowledge is not only residing with them, the knowledge is in the team, and encourage team to come forward with ideas, but also encourage learning, encourage support within the team. And at the same time, create situations where there is interpersonal trust. And that interpersonal trust is very important because as human beings, our brains are monitoring all the time. What kind of interpersonal risk am I exposing myself to? And that kind of brain monitoring is the one which actually you may have a very good talent in your team. But if the talent is not feeling psychologically safe, of course, they will not be able to ask questions or even provide solution, even when they know that this is the solution, because they are too afraid to come up. So that interpersonal risk assessment, it is there because our brains are designed to maximize pleasure and minimize threat. So if you have leaders who are psychologically safe, they have safety in them, they will inspire a culture of psychological safety. And then that's why we say, in terms of developing leaders who will inspire innovation in our organization, we should also focus on developing their emotional capabilities to be able to have the safety that is required in leading other people and empowering their team to become the best they can become. So that is very critical. And if you go back to the three organizations that I have shown you, the Toyota, the Apple, and Google, they were able to figure out what will actually give them mileage in terms of innovation. Because it's only human beings who take time to develop, who have the big brain, which can really undergo transformation and create something new, who can truly build innovative capacity within organization. So that is number one. Number two is to nurture a sense of purpose. Now, when I look at organizations in Africa, and the approach to leadership, the leadership in terms of communicating the meaning of what people do, they are not that high. The authenticity of saying we are doing this because our purpose is this one, and you are creating or you are contributing to that purpose by the work that you do, making that work they do link to the purpose of that organization. Now, from the emotional intelligence perspective, when people know the purpose, they apply themselves. They know the meaning of their work. Even if you tell them run, they know why they are running. So in terms of sprinting to reach the goal, they'll be able to do so because they know the purpose and they know how the work they do align to that purpose. So when we look at inspiring innovation, one of the critical role of leaders is to communicate. And communication becomes so central. Call it like your staple food. Leaders communicating, and you can never over communicate in this particular sense, because human beings have the tendency of being reminded, a tendency of repetition, so that they are able to know, I'm still working within the rail to deliver that purpose which I'm supposed to be contributing to. So that is the second, way of motivating people to give their best. And the third one, when you look at it, is recognize and reward contribution. Yes, I have engaged my mental capability. I have engaged my heart. I've engaged my physical effort. Okay, if then we win, is there a way of recognizing my contribution? And that is very central. And that recognition of contribution has to be fair, because also the human brain is monitoring in terms of whether I'm being treated fairly. So when leaders recognize that it is important to reward and recognize contribution, and they do it in a fair way, then they are able to inspire people to do their best in whatever they are doing. And then you can talk about the bonus scheme, you can talk about maybe the schemes like commission schemes, you can talk about a lot of things. But when you come to the innovation, there must be a way of putting a recognition that is inspiring enough to the person who has gone to the uncharted waters and create something new, or maybe better the product that you are delivering to the customers, so that it inspires others to also emulate and bring that contribution to the table of innovation. So you find a number of organizations where they encourage people to become more innovative by creating policies and procedures that reward in an equitable manner for the people who are able to create and make a difference. Number 4 is provide opportunity for growth and learning. And when you look at what happens to people when they join organization, they are there to contribute to the organization growth. But again, we have to recognize they're also interested to see that they're also attaining some kind of growth in their profession. They are learning, they're in the sense of becoming something better each time, each year. So a policy where people are given opportunity to learn and grow, where you inspire the growth mindset within your team, so that people can even take off time to invest in themselves. And that time which is taken off, at the end of the day, it pays a big time, because people capability are enhanced and they're able to contribute more to the organization. So we have organizations that have a rule of 15% learning each year. And when people are able to grow and see they're making a headway, now this opportunity can also be through empowerment, having internal processes where there is cross-learning within the team, where leaders are evaluated on how they are managing their team, their subordinate effectiveness, how much time they're spending in coaching, how much time they're spending in learning and development of their people. So if we are able to really put together in the policy and task leaders to pay attention to the growth and learning of their teams, then we are able to create more innovative organization. Number 5 is encouraging cross-disciplinary collaboration. There is a subject that I teach, which is called design thinking. It is been proven that when you have multidisciplinary team coming to work together and working in a collaborative way, you are able to inspire innovative ideas, because engineers, marketing people, finance people, they have a different way of viewing a problem. But when we put them together in ideation workshop, they are able to produce a lot of new ideas. So if we are able to encourage, instead of building silos in our organization, but encouraging that kind of multidisciplinary collaboration within the team, we are able to create a spark in terms of innovation, in terms of maybe even looking at our self-service delivery and improving the process, because you are bringing people from different departments to look at a problem and innovate on how it can be done better. Then number 6 is autonomy and ownership. And this, in our culture, especially organizations that have not brushed shoulders with the multinationals of this world, giving autonomy to a talent, giving them an ownership of the job that they are doing, and opportunity to exercise their intellectual freedom to deliver the best they can deliver. It is not a commonplace in this side of the world. But it has been proven, when you have a talent and the talent know that they can exercise their intellectual freedom, they can innovate, they can come up with different way of doing things, they can be mavericks in what they are doing, you are likely to inspire more ideas, more innovation in your business. And this autonomy is so critical in the sense that when it comes to evaluating your team, there must be a kind of co-creating what they have been doing and understanding around the job and what kind of decisions they are making all the time. So the autonomy part of it is very, very important, and it inspires people to be the best because they know this is on me, the buck stop with me. So they are able to provide much more innovation in what they are doing. So if we are able to practice the 6, the 6 motivating ingredients, we'll be able to inspire more creativity in the workplace, where people feel they are able to contribute much more. We stop people being mechanical, or we stop them being business as usual, because we have provided this kind of an environment where people can really excel. So after looking at how we can motivate people to be the best. Now, let me zoom in terms of the role of emotional intelligence in driving innovation. As I've said, normally when you look at the workforce, we are saying the workforce, to be the best it can be, we must be able to harness the hand, the head, and the heart of our employee. So then here, emotional intelligence plays a big role. We are calling them soft skills, but in my world, I call them essential skills for leadership, where leaders are able to influence people to give the best. So the first thing is enhancing team collaboration. There is a book which has been written by Daniel Goleman, Resonant Team. And in the Resonant Team, we are talking about how leaders can create teams that are very aligned and they are able to work in a collaborative way. And each time the team is working, they are interacting at a productive level. So when we are talking about collaboration, it is all about creating a team environment where people feel I'm valued, I'm making contribution to this team, and my contribution is recognized. Then you realize you are enhancing the team collaboration. The skills to enhance team collaboration come from the leaders' ability to be aware of how their behaviors impact the team. Leaders being able to be empathetic about developing a team and shaping it to become the best team. Leaders communicating with authenticity, allowing people to give them feedback and responding to feedback in a very positive way. And leaders also empowering. And when we are talking about empowering teams, providing the necessary support to the team to be the best they can be. So all those, they come from the emotional intelligence competences. And then you are able to build a resonant team. You are able to read the mood of your team. You are able to understand where the struggles are. You are able to give them the emotional stability and resilience that is required for the team to deliver. So there, the role of emotional intelligence cannot be underestimated. And the second one is encouraging risk-taking. As I put it in the beginning, taking a risk requires an environment of psychological safety, but also requires some kind of encouragement. It is exactly like when you are looking at a child and the child is trying to walk. We encourage the child to take a risk of being on their own feet. When we come to our teams, there are some projects that may push them to risk-taking. If we don't give necessary kind of support, we don't support them openly to have the risk-taking as part of growth, part of innovation, then we miss it. Now, the emotional intelligence give us ability as leaders to give autonomy, the autonomy I was talking about, where people exercise their intellectual freedom, where they work within their power, the strength that they have. And once we have encouraged risk-taking, we can see a lot of innovation coming into our organization. Because in risk-taking, it doesn't mean that you win all the time. There'll be a time that you don't win. But how do leaders react when maybe the team has not made it? Or an individual who was trying and putting the best foot forward didn't get it right? How do we handle that kind of an individual? Now, in the Toyota world, if a technician stops a production machine and reports an error, even if that error was committed by the technician, normally there is a day where that technician is celebrated because they are looking at the bigger picture. If that error was not caught in good time, it was going to create problem in the final products that they are delivering. But also as organization, they have this culture of admitting when something has not worked very well, they admit their mistakes. I remember there was a time they had to recall the whole batch of the vehicles they supplied to America because one engineer pointed out after the vehicles were shipped a braking system malfunctioning possibility. So you find that kind of a culture inspires people to become more innovative and to take risk. And another role of emotional intelligence is building resilience. We all know that our businesses, given the dynamics of operating a business, of running an enterprise, we are not winning all the time. So emotional intelligence comes in to the leaders to be able to remain resilient, even in the face of crisis. We saw it during COVID-19. We have seen it in the financial crisis. How do you build resilience within your team? It is through communicating with clarity. It is through engaging with people. It is through talking about the problem, the challenges, and acting as human as possible. Because people do not want to be led by robots. They want to be led by people who have emotions, people who are able to express what is going on, but they are in control. So if we are able to transfer this kind of resilience, we'll be able to drive innovation. And one good example that we can look at, it was the invention of aeroplanes. There were two teams. One team was very well resourced in terms of money, and another team did not have much resources. But because they had emotional engagement with what they were doing, the passion they have, they were called Wright brothers, they were able to be successful because they were not giving up. And they were not giving up because they had an engagement from their heart, the emotional resilience. I fail, I try. I fall, I pick up myself. And this also comes from how leaders inspire their team to be the best they can be. And the last part of my presentation is sustaining the human age in the age of artificial intelligence. We are all talking about ChatGPT, we are talking about artificial intelligence, but I can assure you, all these, they'll be there, but still the human age in innovation will still remain because even the artificial intelligence has been created by the human. Now, we are talking about augmenting the human creativity. What technology can do, it can expand the way we see things, but we need to have a marriage between the human and the technology. And this is what we call humanizing technology, where there is an interaction. And when there is that kind of interaction, where the technology is in the state of being humanized, it means using the same kind of technology, humans become more agile in terms of innovation in terms of seeing things in a broader perspective, using technology, working faster in terms of innovating. So still the artificial intelligence will not take the edge and the human side of innovation. And lastly, the issue of ethical decision making, because emotional intelligence comes in with emotional reasoning. Whereas you look at the decision that you are going to make, whether it is an innovation, because if you go to the design thinking, we are saying all innovation are human-centered. So we are looking at what are the desirability of the human. Does it make financial sense? Does it make technical sense to innovate? Then when you look at the environmental consideration, is this innovation going to be ethical? Is it going to destroy our environment? A machine cannot think. It's only human who can make those ethical decisions when we come to innovation. And when we're talking about ethical decision, the competences of emotional intelligence comes in. Being aware of others, the society at large. We have a responsibility to protect the human society, the human community. Then being able to express and influence for better decision making. But also, when you meet resistance for the innovation that you want to create, having the self-management, the self-control to be able to continue influencing. And lastly, empowering teams to know ethics and integrity matter in innovation. It is not only about numbers, it is not only about meeting target, it is also caring about the planet Earth. So ethical decision making in the innovation is very important and it's part of the emotional intelligence. So to round it up, again, it is not cash, it is not building, it is not machinery that are the profit levers for organizations or that are innovative aspect of organization. It is people. So energizing the people side of business, recognizing the input of the people side of business, give us the ability to become more innovative, more creative, and make ethical development in our companies with high integrity, considering the planet, people, and profit at the same time. Thank you very much for listening to me. I'm sure you have some questions. And before we respond to your questions, Rose will talk a little bit about the programs that are already on offer. Rose.
Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. That was really empowering and also very eye-opening. Thank you very much. So to wrap this up, actually not to wrap it up, but just to talk about the Lead, Empower, and Thrive program that we are running. It is all about leading with emotional intelligence. So basically, as during the presentation, we learned about the motivation, the human aspect. And so this particular program is to empower leaders to lead with emotional intelligence, be empathetic, be understanding, not just be goal-oriented, but to be people-oriented, get to know what is causing this person not to perform instead of always, shouting at people and asking them where they're not performing. You get to understand them better. So this particular program, we are running it at the course that is on the postal, and then it will start on May 7th. So basically, you can just scan the code, the QR code that is on your screen right now. Then you'll be able to see more about this particular course, Lead, Empower, and Thrive. And also at the same time, you'll be able to register to our courses, and then we'll get back to you. We welcome questions. So if you have any questions on what our speaker has already tackled, please put them on the chat. She will be able to tackle them and then respond to them. So we welcome any question at this time. Thank you so much, Simon. We're saying thank you. Zuhura Muro, you have given us more knowledge, experience, and abilities while we are dealing with people daily. Thank you so much. So please share your questions, anything that you want to ask in line of what has been covered, or even maybe what you're going through at work. Maybe you feel like, our speaker will be able to help you through. Just share those questions.
So, Rose, it seems like I have confused the audience. They don't have much questions. I'll just ask them to reflect on their organizations and to try to think about the things that we have talked about around their workforce, and try to see out of the aspects that I've presented, which are the most critical ones that they can implement immediately in their organization, and how they can influence a culture change in terms of creating a more psychological safe environment, trust in relationship, building collaborative teams. So we can start from there, because we talk about having a place where you start as organization.
Yeah, true.
When I have a class of advanced diploma in leadership, we talk a lot about the people side of business and how we can inspire people to be innovative, to be more valuable to our organization. And in most cases, we blame people, but then we don't go back and say, in this era of artificial intelligence, dynamic changes in the world, what are we doing with leaders so that they become agile in terms of leading the workforce of now? Because if we continue using the same leadership styles that were used to 30 years ago, it won't work. I see Laurian Rugambwa, thank you for joining. Thank you a lot. Zuhura just joined. 6:30 was held up in another meeting. Okay, sharing the presentation. Okay, the presentation. Laurian, you're my friend. We'll be able to share the recording. Okay. So for me, I think it's much more about creating conversation in East Africa. And that conversation is very important in the realms of leadership, especially the area of authenticity, the communicating with clarity, sharing the purpose and the meaning of what people do, and moving from high power index pedestal to become really close to our staff, and making sure that we engage them to create bond and trust and psychological safety in our organization. The issue of mzee kasema, mzee, yes, it's no longer going to have a place. We have to now move into becoming more agile in terms of engagement of the workforce. So, Rose, we can call it a day. We're almost on top of the hour. I'm requesting the people who have attended, and thank you very much, just to give us a parting word as you are leaving the call, because this was 1 hour and we have tried as much as possible to share what was prepared for today. Tell us how it is. Tell us what you want to hear more in our webinars. We have a number of them. So we'll be very happy to bring more content around how emotional intelligence can be used to inspire innovation, but also emotional intelligence in many spheres of business and life in general.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think that's a very nice parting shot. So, yes, so we have one on the chat. So we have Eva who is saying, I would love to hear more about how one can be the change where this kind of leadership is not common. Thank
The
you.
power of one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, a change. Normally, I go back to what Mahatma Gandhi has always said, be the change that you want to see, and the power of one. I believe we have power to inspire change in the organizations that we are working, but the change cannot come unless we agree to engage in honesty conversation. If the leadership is not ready, there must be a way that may be led by HR department to have conversation about leadership climate. What kind of leadership can take us from where we are to where we want to be? In such conversation, to be honest enough and not to be sort of like opinion box or whatever, but people to converse. You can start with small teams, and those teams can build up into bigger teams of your organization. My experience as human resource head, I remember in 2002, we started that kind of change. And the change, we went into smaller teams. Each team defined how they wanted to work and how they wanted to engage. And then that was translated into the senior team. So starting from the shop floor, we had a culture of giving each other feedback, a culture of constructive criticism, and we were able to build a very successful business within 3 years with a lot of accolade and also recognition in the market. So I believe in the power of one. I believe in the power of demonstrating the change that you want to see, but also I believe in the power of influencing people to come on board. But starting with a big group may be a problem. Start small, a small focus group where you talk about how really do you want to be led. There is Rebecca who said, thank you, Zura, for the insightful presentation as we focus on what we take to our organization. Okay, thank you, appreciated. Baraka, appreciate for the wonderful presentation. I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much for feeling that you have not wasted your time, and we'll continue bringing this knowledge to you. As I said, impact leadership, our tagline is learn, share, and support. We are available. I see Eunice Balisi in this call on the 27th, 25th, I think, for people who are in Tanzania. We are having emotional intelligence in parenting, and it is going to take place at Oasis Village starting from 7 p.m. We are going to talk a lot about the parenting role and how emotional intelligence can assist you in terms of bringing a well-rounded children and contributing to well-rounded citizens. So it's a conversation which we are going to share with people who are parents already and people who are aspiring to become parents, because also we have recognized there are a lot of challenges in parenting in this day and era. So we want to have that conversation. So you can see how emotional intelligence can be applicable in work, in life in general, and how parents can use emotional intelligence to build more resilient, uh, uh, um, more resilient children who have emotional fortitude to be able to rise to the challenge of the current dynamic of our world. So when a parent is emotionally aware, is able to bring up a better child in this world. So Eunice, thank you very much for organizing that session. And I cannot wait to be part of the conversation on the 25th.
Thank you very much, Mama Zuhura. So Simon is also, he has shared his email and saying that kindly give advert for the Oasis event. So Diana, kindly take up that. Then so we'll share with you the advert on the Oasis. Thank you, Simon. So maybe
Diana is in this call. Maybe
yes,
Diana, you can share in the chat
yes,
if you have the advert.
yeah, or the poster.
Yeah, the poster.
Yeah.
It's open for Oasis Club members for free, but the non-members are paying only 10,000 shillings to join the conversation. So you can see our mission is really, our Northern Star is to create emotionally intelligent environment for thriving societies, whether it is at workplace or it is at home. And when we have emotionally intelligent society, we'll see stress levels coming down, mental health problems also coming down. So it is very important to do that. So we have shared what we had today, share the advert. Many people are asking for the advert. Yeah, and at Oasis, when you are there for the conversation, it's a club. You can also enjoy other services when you join us. And that is where also Impact Leadership Academy is located. And we'll be very happy to host you. Karibuni sana. So we call it a day. So we give each other parting shots. And I must say, as a speaker for today, I'm very energized by your participation. I look forward to seeing you again. For those who are in Tanzania, join us. Unfortunately, we won't have a virtual facility for people who are not from Tanzania to join on that particular day, but there are going to be more events. We are planning an event around Mother's Day, which is parenthood magnified. Again, it will take place at Oasis, where we are going to see people who have joint projects of bringing children in this world come together to talk about parenthood magnified. So there are a lot in this space. Please join us anytime you feel like join us. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. I've shared the details for the event on the chat. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone.